floats on Ragiroth do.
Ragiroth Enterprises.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you come in. My name is Rich of Ragiroth Enterprises, and welcome to my channel. So, getting back to the top 10 characters I want in various fighting games coming out after my student films presentations, I wanted to get to Dragon Ball FighterZ. Oh, and actually, before I forget, there were a couple other fighting games coming out that I forgot to mention why I'm probably not going to do lists for. One is the Street Fighter EX or Fighting Layer game coming out, I think, next year. I'm really happy that game's happening. It looks really cool. I'm definitely getting it. However, I never really played the EX games as much as I'd like to. And I think the few characters I would really want are already in. And I don't think the roster's going to be really that big anyway. And then the other one, if it really even counts as a fighting game, is Gundam Versus, which is coming out this fall. I'm really looking forward to that game. I'm a huge Gundam fan. However, the roster's already done. The game's already out in Japan. And, like, I know they're going to keep updating it over time, but it's like, you know, the roster's already still pretty good. A lot of mobile suits I already want. So, I just don't really feel much of a need to do that. So anyway, on Dragon Ball FighterZ, a lot of us are looking really forward to that game, me included. And, you know, I love ARC's games, and it's cool they're taking an anime I love, Dragon Ball Z, and turning it into one of their fighters, and I think it works perfectly, and it's nice seeing it being 3-on-3, and the graphics are, oh my goodness. A lot of us, I guess, are expecting not a huge roster, because usually with ARC's games, they don't start off very big, because there's just so much style and flash to them that it takes a while making the character models. But with Dragon Ball FighterZ, it might be a little higher, just because they at least have Bandai Namco back in them and they already have so much to work with. Anyways, the characters on my list, I don't exactly think they have high shots. Some of them I think do. They're just characters I personally want. I'm not going to count Kale, Caulifla, Jiren, characters from the newest arc and Super right now, not because I don't want them, but just because I know they're too new and the roster is decided long before that, you know, this arc started, and that, you know, before they even knew how popular these characters were going to be. And trust me, I really would like Kale and Caulifla, but I think at most we're going to get them as DLC, at most. But yeah, I'm not really expecting a lot of these characters I want to make in the game. It's just who I would like to see in at some point. I'm kind of factoring in DLC, but I'm more so considering the main roster. So anyway, let me get out my list. Alright, number 10, Android 13. Yep, that redneck killing android from that one movie. What can I say? Android 13's awesome. He's up there for my first movie villains. He's not at the top, but I like him. And I think it really doesn't help that he still hasn't been playable in Xenoverse yet, for Christ's sakes. He hasn't been playable since Raging Blast 2. But I really like his design, both base, but more so his transformation, with the blue skin and the red Super Saiyan hair. And I think his moveset would be grappler focused, but with a lot of, still some beam attacks, and I feel like he could have like some unique homing attacks with his S-Slash Deadly Bomber. Would, you know, no characters really have that, at least so far, at least. So yeah, Android 13 would be really cool. And I mean, Trunks does have the one move he killed Android 14 with as a move. I don't know if that helps, but it's there. So, for number 9, Dabura. Dabura is probably one of my favorite, like, henchman characters. I never really thought much of him when I first saw him in the series when I was younger. But when I played as him the first time in Budokai 2, holy shit, what the hell was I thinking? He's friggin' awesome. And I've always enjoyed playing as him in any game he's in. Some more than others, but I think Dabura could easily be unique. With, you know, he uses multiple weapons, the dark attacks, teleporting. He could definitely be, I think, unique and interesting. And you're also really, again, just like 13, it really doesn't help that he also hasn't been playable in Xenoverse yet. And now he's at least been playable in Battle of Z. And I don't understand why. He's not the most important character, but, you know, he's in the main Z sagas. and he always has a really cool moveset, so I would like him in this game. Maybe he has a shot, I don't entirely know. He's a hard one to say, because it's like he's kind of inconsistent with game appearances. Okay, up next, number 8, Turles. He's even higher on my movie villain list than Android 13 is. Like Deborah, I didn't really think much of him when I first saw the Tree of Might movie when I was a kid. However, when I played as him in Tenkaichi 2, opinion completely changed. You know, when I first saw him announced, I'm like, oh, it's that guy that looked like Goku in that one movie. Okay, cool. But no, his moveset and design, I always liked the color of his Saiyan armor, and I like that he's just like gray-ass skin. He's like tan, but not tan at the same time. It's weird. His fighting style was always really cool to me, with all his like flips and his purple blasts and the kill driver move, and his English voice is so cool. It's just one of those voices I really like hearing. I know he looks like Goku, but come on, he wouldn't fight anything like Goku. If anything, he would probably fight more like Raditz. But even then, I still think he'd be kind of different. He could even use the Tree of Might as to boost his attack or maybe even heal himself. Anyway, on to number 7. Baby Vegeta. Yeah, okay. Baby Vegeta has like no friggin' shot at all. He's a GT character, and he partially fights like Vegeta. And just like the boy in 13, hasn't been playable in Xenoverse. Oh, he's in it. He's just a freaking unplayable boss in the Uzaru form, and they refuse to make him playable in the Super Baby form or any of the regular size forms for some dumbass reason. I mean, I guess for what it's worth, Vegeta doesn't have Gallic Gun. He could use Gallic Gun. But, yeah, he is I know he could be made unique, but off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything, unfortunately. But I would love to see Baby Vegeta in the game. You know, he's a villain I've always really liked, and he has been playable since, shit, Infinite World. Damn. But I know he has a very little shot, but hey, won't stop me from wanting him. Number 6, Bardock. Bardock has been one of my favorite Z characters for a while. Just like some of the other few I mentioned, when I first saw the movie as a kid, I didn't really think that much of him. I mean, yeah, he was cool, I guess. But playing him as in Budokai 3 became one of my favorites after that. Just like Turles, aside from looking like Goku, his moveset and just personality and just design, just really cool to me. And Bardock, actually, from the characters I mentioned, probably has a good shot. Since Budokai 3, he has, I think, been in basically every game. Not every game, but a good chunk of them. And he is, I think he could be, he's sort of like Android 13, where he wouldn't be a very slow character, but he would be very in-your-face, but still some kind of blast moves and all that. I think he would kind of have very in-your-face kind of blast moves. I do notice that in some recent games, he'll have, you know, special attacks where he uses beams, but they'll be kind of very close and, I guess, sorry for overusing the word, in your face. And again, looks like Goku, but fight nothing like him. Oh, also, personally, I would like him if he was just permanently in one of his Super Saiyan forms, Super Saiyan 1, or hell, even Super Saiyan 3. But I know they're like super non-canon, and the base form of him is just more iconic. So, but, you know, hey, you know, again, won't stop me from hoping, as long as he's in the game. Number 5. Android 17 or Super 17. The reason why I'm huffing is because, well, about today, there was some more news released on the game. Super Saiyan Blue, Goku, and Vegeta got confirmed. Great. And it seems like they reference things past the Universal 6 arc, so that gives hope for, like, you know, Goku Black and things past that arc. At least around there. Awesome. Fantastic. Android 16's in, and apparently the story mode is going to feature him coming back to life. Fantastic. 16's cool, and it's great to see him come back to life, though I think he might be a villain, which is kind of dumb, but hey, whatever. And then Android 18's confirmed. Okay, you know, Android 18's cool, not my favorite, but you know, I expect her in the game anyway. Then Android 17 is in, but he's part of 18's moveset. What the fuck? Yeah, I was not happy about that, put it that way. But I personally think Android 17 could be made different from 18. He fights differently in a bunch of other games. I feel like he could be more beam attack focused, and she could be more in your face and up close. But I don't know. I guess they just... I don't know. ArcSea seems like they're taking, very specific cues from the source material, and they're afraid to steer away from it like some games have. And I can respect that, but at the same time, it's not cool when it kind of restricts certain characters, especially characters I like. Android 17 has been one of my favorites since I first got into Dragon Ball Z. And he's in a ton of games. Like, sometimes he missions to the games, but not really. However, I do like Super 17 more. Yeah, I know, I'm probably in the minority. His move list is much easier to make unique than 18. But like Baby Vegeta, I know he's a GT character. GT characters are very... It's rare they get in games now, unfortunately. Xenoverse was the first time we've had them in a game. But Xenoverse has had a fairly big starting roster and dealt with, well, then again, they're bringing 16 back, so they could be dealing with a lot of non-canon stuff. But as for how Super 17 would play, I mean, obviously he'd probably be partially counter-focused with absorbing the energy. He'd probably have a lot of far-range moves. He'd have good reach, probably be kind of slow though. Not like slow, but like he'd still have a lot of lag to his attacks. Hey, if maybe he is playable, and maybe that's why they made regular 17 just a part of 18's moveset, I would be fine. But I just unfortunately don't see that happening, at least not for a while. Moving on, number 4, Cooler, as in Frieza's brother. I'm sorry, I've always kind of liked Cooler more than Frieza. He's cooler than Frieza. It's hard not to use that. I've always just liked his design more, his voice more. And honestly, I would say if he is in the game, he should probably just be the 5th form. I like the base form, don't get me wrong, but the 5th form is really friggin' awesome. It's something different that Frieza does not have. It would make his move list easily different from Frieza. Just because of his size alone, he'd have to be slower and probably a little more of a physical attacker. And I think he'd be, I don't know if he'd be a grappler, but I think he would be kind of like, I guess, like Juggernaut or Hugo from the Capcom games. He could be in the metal form too. That'd be a little less preferable, but I think that could also be more unique than Frieza. His metal form was a lot more of a different circumstance than Frieza's. His was more of, I guess, sort of parasitic or symbiotic. And Frieza's was just kind of, just getting metal parts to fill what organic parts he lost. Cooler's chances are hard to say, because after Broly and Bardock, and I guess Beerus, 3Bs, he's usually a high priority movie villain. Yeah, usually after Broly, he's the next one to get in. But I don't know. I don't really know. He sometimes gets in the first games, he sometimes doesn't. It's hard to say, so we just gotta see. Anyway, on to number 3. Goku Rose Black or Merged Zamasu. Now, I like Dragon Ball Super, but this is probably the first arc that like really blew me away. It really felt like, it gave me more, that nostalgia, but, the serious tension sagas from Dragon Ball Z. Now, okay, I know it's not perfect. I know it has problems, okay, but I still think it was great, and I think Goku Black and Zamasu were awesome villains, and I think they were cool. They were cool, still had personality, and were still just very entertaining to watch. Okay, I mean, Zamasu's reasons for wanting to destroy the world weren't great by any means, but for Dragon Ball standards, I think it was okay. But anyway, even though their designs aren't anything super original, I still appreciate them, and I love the way they fight. The way they fight is friggin' awesome. I'm kind of surprised from, because if you notice from my tastes, I'm kind of a hipster when it comes to Dragon Ball, and I prefer the movies and GT stuff. and they sort of remind me of something from that, which is really cool. And I think they could easily be unique. I know people are like, oh, we'll go, another situation where a character looks like Goku, he's gonna fight like Goku. Okay, yes, unlike Turles and Bardock, Goku Black does have Kamehameha. After that, that's it. Goku doesn't use a freaking arm keyblade. He doesn't form a scythe and cut open a rift that has a bunch of clones come out. And even then, I think his base fighting style is less martial artsy than Goku. So no, stop with that. He has a Kamehameha, that's it, okay? And Zamasu, he'd fight nothing like Goku. I actually think Merge Zamasu would be the best choice because he is the best of both worlds, and I love that design. I love that he has like the Super Saiyan hair, but it's like white. That's awesome looking. I would be okay with standard Zamasu. I would still use him. He'd probably still be one of my mains. He's still cool, but he'd be a little less preferable in my opinion. I would say either Rose Black and or Merge to Zamasu. One of those options. And I think they have a good shot. I think especially after today, I think they have a good shot. Super Saiyan Blue, Vegeta's ultimate even is basically, I think, something he did to Black, now that I think about it. Okay, we're almost there. Number 2, Hit. Now, as I was saying before, the Goku Black arc seemed like something that would be something from a non-canon part of Dragon Ball that I would appreciate, but a lot of other people probably wouldn't appreciate. But I think it's even more so with Hit. If you showed me a few years ago what Hit's design looked like, I'd be like, that's too cool. That looks like it's from one of the movies or GT or something. This is no offense to Super's designs or anything like that, but he looks like he'd be a movie character, and I think, in my opinion, that's a compliment. It's a much less quirkier design, and I really like that. And it's still something kind of different. Like, yeah, he kind of, to be honest, I kind of always liked this design because he looked kind of like cooler a little bit. Yeah, the shape of the top of his head is a bit questionable, but that's okay. I'll leave it at that. But anyway, Hit, since I've seen him, I've been really interested in him. He's a really cool character. He actually kind of reminds me of Pycon a little bit. He seems like, the new Pycon, I guess, in a way. But his fighting style is amazing. It's really cool, and it would be so easy to make unique in a moveset. I think he'd be very counter-focused, but still not, to take up his entire move list. And he'd be kind of like, I guess, Hakumen from Blaze Blue, but just with much, much, much less reach. And I think he has a pretty good shot. I think he has more of a shot than Goku Black and Zamasu, because first of all, he's not as new, so they've had more time to work with him. Secondly, I think he's maybe the most popular thing from Super. And lastly, I think it's even easier to make him unique than them. And I think his design stands out a bit more too. There's really no character that looks exactly like him. Characters look similar, but not quite. Alright, so as I did with the last 2 lists I did do honorable mentions. And I did do them for this list as well. I picked 5 for this one. So my honorable mentions for the Dragon Ball FighterZ are Broly. I love Broly. I think he's going to be in the game, though. He's not my favorite movie villain. I definitely hope he's in the game. I'll be pissed if he's not. Hachiyak, Future Gohan or Ultimate Gohan. Another or one, Gogeta or Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. I wouldn't really want Vegito that much unless he's Super Saiyan Blue. I actually like Gogeta more. Oh, what a big shock, So if we have to have Vegito, I like Vegito, don't get me wrong. I would really like it to just be Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, his strongest one. I actually think pretty much all characters in the game should just be in their strongest form. That's just me, though. Some people disagree with that, I know. And then my last honorable mention would be Bojack. Okay, so for my number 1 pick, drum roll please. Janemba. Janemba has been my favorite Dragon Ball character for a while now. Yeah, okay, I know, he doesn't have much character, but his design is probably the coolest design I've ever seen in Dragon Ball. And I know he's similar to Boo, but I kind of think he's a much better Boo, in my opinion. I like his origin more, the setting of his fight more. The setting in his fight is maybe the coolest settings in Dragon Ball. And his design is amazing. The moves he does is crazy and unique. I mean, yes, okay, he has stretchy arms like Piccolo and Boo. You know, but he turns a friggin' rock into a demonic sword and can like cut through blood and dimensions and stuff. He can warp through dimensions. His moveset would be very easy to make, or at least, I guess, he'd be easy to make unique. That's one definitely huge thing he has going for him. In terms of how much of a shot he has, that's also very hard to say. Like I said, I think the thing that helps him the most is he would be very easy to make a very dynamic moveset for that I think RXCs would be handle great. I actually even made a move list for him myself one time, but he's a movie villain, and his name's not Broly, so it's hard to say. He doesn't really make it in many first iterations of games, maybe even less so than Cooler does. I would probably say after the 3Bs and Cooler, Janemba is next, but we don't even know if any movie villains are making it in after Broly and Beerus, so I don't know. I'd really like to say they'll say fuck it and they'll give him a chance in the game, but I really can't say. It would be amazing if he made it in the game. Now, by the way, I should also clarify, I'm talking primarily about Super Janemba, the purple and red form that's more human-sized. The fat form was neat. I actually kind of like it more than Fat Boo, but it's too big and it doesn't need to be playable in the game. Maybe a little reference to it or something. But yes, I think that the mention hole punching or whatever the hell you want to call it would be amazing enough. He'd be kind of like Gardos, one of my favorite characters from Killer Instinct. So that's about it for this list. I think the next one I'm definitely going to do is the City of Final Fantasy NT, especially because apparently it's coming out in January. I think it might actually be coming out sooner than Dragon Ball FighterZ. So, as always, don't forget to check out Mark Unart's channel in the description below. And as I always say, another time, another place. Keep being awesome!